Happy New Year and welcome back to WagerTalk.com. I'm Marco D'Angelo. We're joined in studio by Scott Spreitzer and Bryan Leonard. We're going to break down a college football bowl game. This is going to be Scott's video best bet, and we're going to take a look at Penn State in Georgia. And you talk about the public looking at this one, Scott. You know, you've got a strong opinion on this one, but the public can't make up their mind. This betting is split right down the middle almost, 52% currently on Penn State. Line hasn't done any movement so far. But the Penn State Nittany Lions, Hackenberg, supposed to be an NFL prospect. He's been good at times. And then sometimes I've seen him play, Scott, and I say, like, what are they seeing? Because I'm missing something.
I think the offensive line, it's been a problem at Penn State. You know, that's been his probably the biggest downfall for him, not being able to reach the potential that everybody put on this guy's shoulders when he came out of high school and signed on with Penn State. It's been offensive line issues. But this Georgia team right now, Mike, I've heard nothing but Georgia doesn't care about this game, talking about the Georgia faithful. And we don't know if that'll mean a flat spot for the players, but sometimes it kind of correlates where you see the fan base not really caring, and it seems like it rubs off on the players. And then with the mess that's going on right now with Georgia on the coaching staff, not just Mark Richt getting canned and now landing in South Beach, but a lot of his assistants aren't going to be back, and some of them already aren't coaching in this particular game. Jeremy Pruitt, their defensive coordinator, has already moved on. He's taken the D.C. job at Alabama. So just a lot of – in fact, Penn State has some coaching issues also with a couple of guys being shown the door, but it's a little bit different. Penn State is going to be coached on offense in this game by head coach James Franklin, by their quarterbacks coach, because they fired their offensive coordinator several weeks ago. So I think Penn State is – looking from a positive stance about a couple of the coaching changes that are being made, while Georgia is still saying, okay, the Mark Richt regime is almost completely gone, and now we're starting to bring new guys in. And with Georgia having a disappointing stretch driver, second half of the season after that loss to Alabama, I think that affects them a little bit more negatively than what's going on at Penn State.
Yeah, how much the season changed for Georgia. You go back, I think they started 4-0 going into that Alabama game, and everybody was hyping up that Alabama game, and there was a lot of questions when that line came out. A lot of people were shocked about that game, but we saw where the real money showed up game day on Alabama in that one. And after that, they went in a tailspin. You know, this team, they got exposed. They went from contender to pretender in one game, lose 2 of their next 3 games, and the only game they won in that stretch, they beat a Missouri team 9-6. And we all know how bad Missouri was this year and offensively. So, this team, Bryan, when you have a team like that had expectations early and then just really flat on their back after they lose that one signature statement game and don't rally from it. What do you do with a team like that the rest of the way?
Yeah, we've seen a few teams like that this college football season. And from what I've been told, the players really like Mark Richt, and they couldn't understand why they would let him go. And when you look at his record, he's won, 75% of his games, something in that area, but they never could win the big one. It reminds me of the Marty Schottenheimer back in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Terrific football coach, but he never won the Super Bowl. And he kept getting fired, but he's a great football coach. We'll see with Mark Richt when he goes to his new place of residence. But, the thing I have a concern with Penn State is the way they played on the road. They played one neutral site game in Baltimore, I believe, against Maryland. Mm-hmm. Win that game by a point. That's not impressive. And they never won any other game straight up that they played on the road. Now, obviously, they played some good teams. They played Ohio State on the road and played some good teams there. But for motivation-wise, I would think it's all on Penn State here.
Going back, and then we'll kick it to you, Scott, to finish it up. But the Penn State firing the offensive coordinator, I mean, they had to. This is a team, the final 3 games of the season, they scored 21, 16, and 16 points, and it was just miserable for them. And that's what got them in, trouble whenever they got against the better teams. They couldn't match the scoring. So this is your video best bet. I think we know which way you're going, but go ahead and make it official, bud.
Was it quite to left people with suspicions, right? Or who you might be going with in this one. Listen, I like the fact that they've got a new offensive coordinator, kind of. I mean, it's, again, Franklin and their quarterbacks coach, but it's going to be better than what they had. I like the receiving core for Penn State. Chris Goodwin in the gang. Chris Goodwin's a real deal. Hackenberg is going to be an NFL quarterback. We'll see how good he plays at that next level with an offensive line in front of him. But what I don't like about Georgia, and this goes back, I remember doing the Dari Mel show, Mel Kiper and Dari Noka, on the Saturday of Georgia, Alabama. And Alabama was one of my plays that I gave out on the show that day. And what I said in that one is Grayson Lambert is really a stiff in the pocket. I mean, let's just call it like it is. You time the guy in the 40 with a sundial. It's one of those type of things. And Penn State has the best pass rushing defensive end in all of college football. He's got a little hamstring issue, but he's listed as probable for this game. He's practicing. I think you're going to see Penn State put it together here, and at the very least, hang this number. Now, the funny thing is, if this was a regular season game played 8 weeks ago, I'd probably either stay away from the game or lean towards Georgia, even on a neutral side at 6.5. But in this bowl game, I think Penn State's the right side, Marco. I really do.
Right. And you know what? On Saturday, you've got a 5% main event going. It's your final one of the season. You've done quite well with them, 6-1 on the season. Can't do much better than that, my friend. And if you guys want to pick that up from Scott on Saturday, you can save yourself $10 on the package with New Year 10. We're going to offer a coupon, New Year 10. Enter that at checkout. Save yourself $10. Check out Scott's 5% college football main event.
Real quickly, that 5% main event is a Friday game. So they'll want to jump on that on Friday. Yeah. It's a day game on Friday. It's our second and final one of the bowls. We hit with Washington last week in the Huskies, our first main event. As you mentioned, 86% for the season. We look to finish up 7-1, 88%. Final one of the bowl season. And boy, it's been a nice run.
Good luck with that
so
one.
Look to keep it going, knock on wood.
Important that it's on Friday, not Saturday.
Yeah.
Sorry about that one,
okay.
Scott. All right, we'll be back with more videos here at WagerTalk.com.